The season's over. It's done. Cancel everything. Cooked. Yeah, I mean, I think it was kind of just a sloppy game all around. Like it definitely felt like a first preseason game. There's only so much you can take away. Got off to a bit of a rocky start because the freaking Blackhawks or NHL decided it'd be a great idea to geo-block the game on their website to just the Chicago area. So I had to spend basically the entire first period just trying to find a stream to watch the game. But once I found the stream, that was great. I opened it up right to a play of AJ Spellacy just beating the shit out of Lucas Raymond. And I think Dylan Larkin didn't appreciate that too much and went after him. But overall, I was really impressed with Spellacy's game. Like he's definitely one guy who stood out a ton to me. He's such a dog, third rounder, and I mean we're a ways away. I don't think we should get too overhyped, but like it's kind of hard not to watching his game. He's such a intriguing raw prospect. He's like a football player in ice, like Thad Castle from Blue Mountain State. If he decided to play hockey, that's what AJ Spellacy is. So I was really impressed with his game. And but in addition to him, I liked what I saw of the first line. I think it was a little rusty to start. Definitely took a little while for them to get going, but as the game more along, you can kind of start to see that chemistry build. I think you got to give them reps. They're just going to keep getting better. We saw a nice goal. Bedard had a great forecheck and got the puck to Tabo. Nice kind of spinorama backhand goal, which is pretty cool. But yeah, in addition to that, I thought Frank the Tank, I thought had an okay game. I thought he had a bit of a slow start, but a good finish. I like the play he made in the third period. He kind of stripped the wings guy and almost set up a shorty, which is pretty cool. But I think he does need to play better though if he wants to make the team. Also, I said on the previous pod or the pod before that splitting up Vlasic and Jones is a bad idea. And yeah, I mean that was Seth Jones was just absolutely atrocious in the game the other day. I think without Vlasic to kind of help him out on D, you could definitely see more of the weaknesses in his game. So I think hopefully that doesn't last long. Hopefully they put them back together because that's the way it should be. But yeah, those are kind of some of my initial thoughts. I'm sure we'll have more to discuss. But yeah,
Yeah, I was at the game. It was a really fun energy. A lot of people there. Obviously, they didn't open up the upper bowl, which I thought was kind of weird. They kept it closed off. I guess they didn't really want to sell tickets for that, or but it packed everybody else down in the lower sections, and yeah, I don't know. It was a lot of fun. Everybody was really into it. Everybody seemed happy that hockey was back and Blackhawks hockey is back. So it was good. I liked I don't know. I liked some of the players I saw. Obviously, Spellacy was good. I thought Nazar was better than, he got better. I thought as the game went on.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
And what I thought was interesting was they had Nazar out on the penalty kill too, which I thought was an interesting
He looked good.
touch.
He
Yeah.
looked good though. He's
That
so
was where he shined
fast.
the most for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, tough couple of bounces on the Jeff Petrie goal was a blast too. He just blasted
Yeah.
that in the net right in front of my
That was like a
face, and
Bobby Hall shot. Yeah.
yeah. It's a good game though. Great crowd. Everybody's
Yeah.
super into it. I think the Blackhawks are going to be. I mean, it's always a good crowd there, right? But yeah, people are just getting into it more.
Yeah, and I need to defend myself really quick. I wasn't on the episode on Wednesday, and I listened to you two for a little while, and I heard Tasso slandering my name about ticket prices. I was not wrong, okay? They stopped selling 300 level tickets. That's why the prices did not go down. That's why they went up. That won't happen during the regular season. If
Yeah.
we need to, Tassos, we actually, I want to do this, like make a video, maybe like a little IG reel or a TikTok clip of us, like an hour before puck drop, getting a standing room only ticket and then sitting in the 100 level and doing like a how to sit close to the game for $12 because it will happen, and I've done it a bunch of times and it does work. But they stopped selling tickets. But more importantly about the game, dude, AJ Spellacy. I know you both just talked about him. I know he's young. I know he's got a lot of development to do.
Mm.
But when I look at him, I'm like, this is a number two center. Like, without question. He's so big. He's so fast. It seems like he hasn't been playing hockey as long as pretty much anyone else in the NHL, probably. But it still seems like he's got good game sense. He's physical. He knows how to use his body. He stays engaged. Effort guy. I mean, dude, if you just start adding some talent there, some more offensive ability, that guy's going to be a freak. like just imagine 3-4 years, you know, and he's a few years older. He's
so
gonna be
fast.
so big. He's
Yeah.
so fast. He's like,
And so physical.
They have him right now at like 6'2", 6'3", like 195, 200. I mean, in a few years when he's 22, 23, that's gonna be a big fucking guy. And that's exactly what this, especially since I know we've been drafting for speed, but with that, we've been kind of drafting undersized guys, like, you know, Nazer, Moore, Bedard. None of those
He's
guys,
exactly what we're missing.
None
Like
of
a
those
big
guys
power
are gonna,
forward.
yeah, none of those guys are gonna beat you in a fight, you know.
Yeah.
So, gosh, man, seeing him, he looked good in the prospect games, and he looked great on Wednesday. So that got me pumped up. That had me feeling like Craig Smith after he scored preseason goal. I just want to celebrate.
Yeah, he had that nice stick twirl. Yeah, in the preseason.
What
That's
are you
crazy.
doing?
Why was Craig Smith our best player
why
on
was he our best
Wednesday?
player?
Yeah.
Oh my god. The CHR group chat was going crazy early
Yeah.
on because Justin was trying to find a stream.
I was going nuts,
texting him
man.
about how bad the broadcast was.
It was terrible.
It
It
was
kept
dog
cutting way
shit.
up to every goal.
The
Yeah.
Red Wings went on a breakaway. I think right
Yeah,
after
no.
the Tavo goal, and because the stream that they were using, like the footage, was what they were using inside the stadium. So like what was on the jumbotron, and so the Red Wings went on a breakaway, and they just put up Tavo's goofy mug with his first goal of the season.
It was like that. It's like that Lance Stroll meme from F1, just interrupting the broadcast.
It was so
funny.
bad, dude. It was saved by Mrazek. And I was like, all right, I didn't see that, but no.
It probably happened on the
nonetheless.
first Red Wings goal too. Like I didn't see it because I was looking for a stream, but apparently like they were showing like something while they scored the first goal, so they didn't even see that. They had to show like a fan cam to be able to see what happened. So yeah, just overall the broadcast was just terrible.
It was bad. It was
awful.
bad, but it's preseason. It's preseason for them. It's preseason for us. It's
Fair enough.
preseason
Yeah.
for the broadcast.
And it's not the normal crew, right? Because they're just doing this like over the radio for these 3 games until we wait for the new network to start. So obviously it's going to be kind of shit. So yeah.
But to be fair, hearing the guys commentate on the radio versus what we had to deal with last year.
Weideman's great in Troy
Oh my
Murray. It's a great
gosh.
connection.
They were so pumped up too, just to be back. Like at the beginning of the game, they're just like, "Man, I'm excited to call a hockey game." I don't know about you, and that's exactly how I felt. Like, you know, it's preseason, but I'm like, "Damn, we're back." You know,
It's preseason for us too around here.
I haven't been this excited for a preseason since last year's preseason. Yeah.
Right. No, yeah, it is preseason for us too. Like I said earlier, Tassos is Mr. Producer right now.
Tassos forgot to put the SD card into the Roadcaster today, so we're gonna see how this goes up on Spotify after this. But for all of you watching on YouTube, thank you for participating right now, because yeah, we got to get this show to a point where when we do go live, there's like a live chat of people.
And they're all making fun of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely cook us up.
Tassos, how was my intro today? A little more energy?
It was good. I actually didn't know that you were going to take the reins on it, so I almost hopped in there, and then, yeah.
More energy this afternoon. I like it.
I actually did. After the audio went off at the beginning, I was like, damn, I probably should have said that I want to do it today. So I just started talking pretty early.
Yeah, you got it.
Thank you. Thank you.
So the Hawks play tonight against the Red Wings. A little bit of a rematch. Maybe they'll try and get a win on their home ice this time. A bit of a younger lineup. Obviously, you expect that with them being on the road. Anything you guys are looking out for in particular?
I think the main thing is Lucas Reichel. Like he's on that top line for Rick Nazar. I want to see those two cook. I mean, Reichel needs to assert himself this season. I think we've said this multiple times, many times on this pod, and he definitely has an opportunity to shine today. A lot of young guys, I think, look out for Spellacy again. He had a great game. Can he expand on that? Korchinski's in the first pair. You know, I think I'd like to see more from him tonight. Just guys like that. Unfortunately, it looks like Soderblom's starting in net, so we have that to look forward to. But yeah, other than that, Lardis on the top line with Reichel and Nazar. I'd like to see more from him. He was kind of quiet in the preseason game. And yeah, I think guys like Doc Gutman, like Colton Doc, I know he wants to make the team. I don't really think there's room for him, but if he's that confident, then yeah, he needs to produce today. Yeah, no, I think just seeing those young guys cook, that's what we want to see, right? Yeah.
Spellacy on the third line with Slaggert and Craig Smith.
Yeah,
that could be a fun line.
He impressed, like not just us, but the coaching staff there too.
I think it's pretty clear. Yeah, and I think he was maybe the most talked about player on Hawks Twitter on Wednesday. Yeah.
I would have rather seen him on the second line, honestly. Gosh, he just looks so good. I'm so high on him. I'm trying to find the Red Wings like projected
Oh
lineup
yeah,
tonight?
it's Cater's not in the lineup again. I don't know what's up with that.
Are they going more prospect heavy too? Because I mean, I'm just looking
Uh,
at this
it's
defense and this
mixed.
goaltending, and it's like we might get absolutely trounced tonight.
Oh yeah, no, I think they definitely have a stronger lineup. It's basically the reverse of Wednesday. The first two lines, Rasmussen, Cobb, Fisher, then Berger and Comfort, Tarasenko. So those are pretty NHL lines, but the rest of it's pretty prospect heavy. They
Yeah.
got Sider on D, but the rest of it's kind of prospect heavy, and then line and net. So I think it's pretty. I think theirs is maybe a little stronger, but not that much. I mean, but we only have a full NHL line in here. I mean, we have guys like Slaggert, Smith, Anderson, Reichel, Nazar, like could be NHL players. And then defense, we have Korchinski and Brody, but the rest of it's pretty much
Yeah.
prospect heavy and Soderblom and net, so we know that's going to go.
Yeah.
The game's already lost. Yeah.
It might get ugly, but who knows? You know, they all these literally every single player playing tonight has something to prove.
Yes, that's the thing,
I
right?
guess besides TJ.
And the
Brody.
preseason, from players that you tend to see more, right? What you saw in the Wednesday game, like Craig Smith was great. Players who are fighting for roster spots definitely, the effort level is definitely higher versus like players who are locks to make the team. Like I think the first line was okay, but you could tell that they weren't quite like giving it their all necessarily. I think, and that's fair. Like it's preseason, you don't want to risk injury. We've already seen so many injuries in this preseason. Like if you're a guy, a vet who's a lock to make this team, like what's the point in going 110% in a meaningless preseason game? Like that's really the time for young players and kind of vets who are kind of fighting to make the team. It's their opportunity to shine. So obviously they're going to show more than some guys.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Can we regress really quick? I want to talk a couple more things about the game on Wednesday.
Sure.
Yeah.
I want to. We didn't mention. I thought Peter Mrazek looked mid-season form already.
Yeah, he was good. The other guy wasn't so good.
Yeah, he only let in 2 goals. He had like a 909 save percentage. I thought he looked great. I think that's worth stating. He's our number one. Hopefully going to keep us in a lot of games this year, similar to last year. If he's as good as he was last year, I mean, I don't think this team's going to finish like nearly as low as they did. Also, something I wanted to talk about, we've kind of harped about it a lot, splitting up Vlasic and Jones and putting Martinez up there.
No, makes no sense.
I understand, like, I agree with you, but I heard a take this week that I just everything clicked and it made more sense for me. Somebody brought up, I want to say it was, I want to give him credit. I think it was the Rinkside General on YouTube. I was watching one of his breakdowns and he was talking about how his rationale, why he thinks that's happening is with Taylor Hall and Martinez, why he thinks they're going to get top line valuable minutes is because both those guys just
up the trade value,
just for the trade value. They just have
Oh.
this year.
Yeah.
Get Martinez in all the best situations, get him a ton of time on ice, make him look as good as possible, and then ship him out at the deadline. Get more.
So I think we'll
draft
see
capital.
Taylor Hall on the first line too.
Yeah. And power play minutes,
Yeah.
and that makes complete sense to me. And I would be so okay with that, So I did just want to go back to that because I think that's kind of important. They would obviously never admit that, like Kyle Davidson, Luke Richardson is never going to be like, we're playing these guys because we're going to get rid of them and use them.
They get draft picks at the deadline. Yeah.
They would obviously never say that.
Yeah.
But
I didn't even think about that. But yeah, they're both on 1-year deals, right? So that would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean,
it depends how Vlasic looks, right? Like if Vlasic's not like the player he was last year, I think you got to put them back together. But I understand it from, I guess, that standpoint, trying to get, Davidson could never have enough draft capital. So I think trying to increase those guys' values, I get it, I suppose. That's better justification than Richardson gave. So yeah.
I'll even push back on that. I think that Vlasic's going to be just fine. I think maybe Jones might need Vlasic a little more.
Oh yeah, no, I think that's fair.
Jones.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But like TJ Brody, though, I mean, I know we harp on Seth a lot, but I think I'd rather Vlasic be paired with Jones than Brody. But I understand what you're saying, though.
You're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to bring that up because I heard that and I was like, gosh, Kyle is a genius. Like, yes.
40 chess.
Think about it. I mean, if they have great seasons, like if Hall has, I don't know, like
40, 50 points.
40, 50 points, and like they could
they get a first rounder.
Like we could get easily. So, I mean, that would be awesome, especially since we've said this is our last year to go get the rest of our pieces in the draft. Let's do it one more time and then get cooking, you know?
Yeah, because Hall is like what? He's like 33. I mean, I don't think he's really going to be a part of this core. So yeah, I mean, it's really just get whatever you can out of him, and then yeah, get the pieces in
I think
return.
he's a little younger than that. I want to say he's 31. I'll look it up.
I talked to Stephen Ellis from Daily Faceoff earlier in the week, one of the best prospect guys out there. And he's really high on Gavin Hayes, too. I just wanted to make mention of that because I thought that was
I think
really
he's on the
interesting.
second line tonight.
Yeah, he is. Second line right wing. And I think, you know, Michigan kid, kind of close to home. Yeah, I think that's a good player that has really developed really well in the OHL and, you know, could be like a third line energy Andrew Shaw kind of vibe player, right? So
I think someone like that I see is like someone like Sam Savoy. He could be our next Andrew Shaw. But I agree with you with Hayes. Definitely one of the more underrated prospects. We have a lot of guys like that are kind of underlooked.
well,
I
I
would
think he
definitely
could
throw him in there.
score more than
Oh
Shaw,
yeah,
but
no, for
Hayes
sure.
could. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I agree.
Yeah. So I don't know. Just another thing to watch, another player to watch.
I mean, shit, if you think he's going to be an Andrew Shaw type player but score more, I'm all ears.
Yeah, no.
That's quite
That'll be a
the,
fan favorite, that's for sure.
That's quite the assessment.
Yeah.
Ledwinski hasn't really developed much like a lot of people thought, right?
He had a pretty good year last year. He had a good bounce back season.
And he looked pretty good in the prospect showcase from the highlights
Yeah,
that I saw.
looked pretty good. He and Savoy had some good looks in the preseason game as well, from what I saw.
What's his ceiling? Like, is it 2C? Is it 3C?
I think he's a bottom six guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
like third or fourth line. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. Because they used a high pick on him, and like they used a high second rounder on
Hawks have
Ledwinski.
so much guys like that with like at best case middle six, worst case bottom six. They have some top six guys, but yeah, it's a lot of like middle of the lineup guys like
Which is
that
like
for
kind
sure.
of fine considering how many prospects we have and
Yeah,
how much capital we still have this coming year. I mean, think about it. How many guys have we talked about could be the potential 2C? Like
There's so many.
we have like six,
Yeah.
you know?
And if you have so much like large quantity, like as long as some of them are in great shape, right?
Exactly.
Not all of them are going to hit.
Exactly.
But, yeah.
You don't need everyone to be. I've said it before. You almost don't even want all these guys to be stars. You know, it's like you need role players, you need depth, you need bottom six as much as, if not more, than you need top end talent.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else you guys are looking to see tonight? I mean, is there anything that Arvid Soderblom could do to change your mind that he's a reliable NHL goaltender besides showing I mean, he's shown so much of the opposite that, you know, it's hard to even give him
After
any
how
leeway.
disastrous his season was last season, I don't know. Like it's hard to bounce back from that. But he is young. I mean, if he does show to be, like, he had some glimpses at points in his career, in his short career. I mean, he could always redeem himself. But I don't know. After what we saw last season, I don't know why he's still even here. Like I don't really understand it. Why he's gotten such a long leash. But we'll see. I mean,
look, you're also not exactly doing the guy any favors rolling out this lineup in front of him.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to make him. I mean,
You know,
look, I think it could be a rough one.
It's not like it's going to be a shutdown night. They're going to have open looks. They're going to have opportunities. So he's kind of getting thrown to the wolves.
I wish Kaner was playing tonight because I know he'd light him up.
Yeah. No, I don't know if it's going to work out here just because of the situation that he's in now. It's like now we have a starting goalie and a backup, and he's kind of like that third guy. And we also have prospects. So I think maybe a change of scenery. He's going to have to leave. If he's going to have any shot in this league, I don't think it's going to happen here.
Yeah, no. Like, once Brossoit's back from injury, hopefully that's the last we see of him on this team.
I was going to say, has there been any update on the Brossoit injury?
I think both him and Artie, nothing's changed. I think it's still like 3 weeks, like a month, whatever it is. Speaking of Levchinov, his timeline hasn't changed as well, but he's still been on the ice practicing in a non-contact jersey. He's still training and all that, still with the team. So that's good to see. I don't think it's an injury the foot injury that'll affect him in any way in the long term. So once he's back, he should, be back with Ice Hogs. But yeah, no, it looks like that's going okay on that front. But yeah, nothing's changed.
Last I heard KD talk about it, he made it seem like Brossoit was kind of on the shorter end of like 3 weeks to a month, and Artie was more on the longer end, like maybe being out like a few days to a week longer. So we'll have Brossoit back when we need him. I'm not worried.
Yeah, I mean, I think at worst we might have to suffer through one game of Arvid Soderblom. So I think like when he gets back, what is that, 3 weeks, a month? Like we'll be what, a week or two into the season. Whereas
Yeah.
it could take the bulk of those games, but they might need to play Soderblom like once. I don't know. Yeah.
Do we have any games that are like really close back to back at the start?
Yeah, that's the
Uh,
question.
yeah, I don't know. Um, so
Let's see.
yeah, I'm just looking at this Hawks lineup and seeing what, you know, like we've mentioned a lot of these guys that are fighting for the bottom 6 spots, and they probably have 12 guys that are fighting for 6 spots right now. You know, and I've said this before. I don't know if I've said it on this show, but I have definitely said it on the morning show, where it's like I feel like the NHL sometimes is the league where 99% of the time, like you could pick the lineup for each team in training camp
Yeah.
right now. Like most of the guys at camp don't realistically have any sort of shot of making the hockey club. But I can't really say hockey club anymore, actually, with Utah in the mix. But you know what I mean? That like, you know, you can kind of figure out who's playing when and where at times. But with this Hawks team, it's probably the most open lineup at training camp out of any NHL team. I think you could make the argument that, you know, I think all three of us, if we wrote down our bottom 6, it would
We'd
look,
have different bottom
yeah,
sixes. Yeah.
yeah,
It's hard to predict this lineup because like Frank Nazar is such a wild card. Kevin Korchinski is such a wild card. There's so, like we said, there's so much guys fighting for spots on his team where it's like, yeah, I think we'd all have probably different interpretations of what it could look like for sure. But our second and third games are back to back, so I just saw. So yeah, we probably would have to deal with
Yeah,
Cyber once just to answer that question. Yeah,
Yeah, that was like the Winnipeg to Edmonton.
Edmonton.
Right?
That'll be fun.
Yeah, we're gonna get trounced
But yeah, by the Oilers,
in,
yeah, it'll be
in
rough.
Edmonton. Jesus,
Yeah.
it's gonna be a cookies night for McDavid. I kind of talked about this a little bit on Tassos' show this morning, so everyone be sure to go listen to that after this. Shout out Good Morning Hockey. I think that this lineup, I'm not too worried about, you know, who's going to fit into the bottom 6, which of these young guys are going to play, who's not, because I don't think that there's going to be any consistency in the lineup throughout the year, except for maybe your top 2 lines. And honestly, it doesn't matter because you want to have all these guys have looks. So like, I don't even think that's important because I think guys are going to be sliding in and out all the time. Like, I don't think Patrick Maroon's going to play the whole year. I don't think Craig
Better
Smith's
not.
going to play
Yeah.
the whole year.
And there's going to be injuries, right? So guys are going to
There's
slide
going
in
to be
and out,
injuries.
so,
There's going to be guys getting, you know, a string of games for this guy, string of games for this guy, string of games for that guy. So I don't think like the set line, the lineup out for, you know, week 1, game 1. I don't think that matters too much because I think that, you know, the guys that need to get looks and playing time will.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, if you do send some of those guys to Rockford, they're going off. Like, there's no reason for them not to call them up and get them looks if some vets are struggling up here.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure.
Because it's like, let's be honest, we're not going to win a Stanley Cup this year. It's
No,
not like we need
yeah.
that sort of like continuity and all throughout our lineup where it's like, oh, we need this guy playing with this guy for, you know, a bulk of games. It's like, it doesn't matter, especially in your bottom 6.
Yeah, no, for sure. I totally get that. And chemistry's more important, those top lines too, like keeping those guys together. But bottom 6, like who cares? You can slot guys in and out. It's not going to get affected. Yeah.
Yeah, we just want to see Bedard feast at the end of the day.
That's the main priority. And I think that's the easiest. If there's one thing we can all predict with ease, it's that he will go off this season. I don't think any of us are worried about that.
Yeah, just fingers crossed, no injuries, remain healthy.
Yes.
one more player I wanted to bring
No
up.
broken jaws this year. No Brendan Smith.
One more player I wanted to bring up and ask you guys what you think about is Nolan Allen. I feel like he doesn't really get talked a lot on that like crowded Hawks blue line pipeline of players, right? But he is a first round pick. You know, I just am curious about his development because it feels like a lot of other guys who were picked after him have passed him on the depth chart with the Hawks organization.
Yeah.
I just curious as to where he eventually lands. I mean, I guess only time will tell, but
Yeah, I feel like it's going to be tough for him. I think he's a pretty solid defenseman. I like what I've seen from him, but it's like when I look at our future depth chart, I think it's you want Lev Shinaba, Korchinski's your top pair, ideally. Vlasic and Jones would ideally be your second pair, and then I think I'd have Beaufort and Zell and Del Mastro ahead of him in the depth chart. So the way I see it, he'll probably be our fighting for like 7th D with like Kaiser or somebody like that. But yeah, I like him. I don't know. We have such a log jam of D. It's like, where does he fit here is the question, right? It's just so much so much fighting going on for that those kind of bottom pairs. So
I
I don't
think
know. What do you think?
I think he could easily prove it in these preseason games. I thought he looked better. All the highlights that I watched, I think he had better
He did look
prospect
better than Del
games
Mastro than the
Mastro
pros.
did.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And
But I think Del Mastro has a higher ceiling, I'd say.
and they gave him the C, right, for those games.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
So
They definitely think highly of him. Yeah.
I think he's still in it. You just want him to, you know, take these chances, nights like these, where he's given the opportunity to show his ability and his defensiveness, and he's just got to go take it. I think it's there. I don't think I think we all agree. I don't think any of these spots are set in stone. Like, yeah, it would be ideal that your, you know, really high first round picks are going to be your 1 and 2 and so on. But that's not how it's a meritocracy. It's whoever's the best is gonna play, you know. So I don't think I wouldn't necessarily say that he's outside looking in just yet, but he's got a lot to prove.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, his game, I think, could translate well to NHL level 2. Like, he's definitely like the epitome of a defensive defenseman. You know, no flash, but just not a lot of mistakes. I think that works out well for like a third pairing defenseman. So I think he could work out well from that standpoint. Yeah.
Lee, did you have anything you wanted to get off your chest about Kirill Kaprizov?
Yeah. I mean, shout out to Mr. Lazarus, my goat, for it was so weird why that just blew up now. I mean, he wrote it like in like July or
in the
something,
draft.
right? Like,
Yeah.
but basically because he clarified on Twitter, and what he heard was that the Blackhawks were interested in Kaprizov in like 2026. And he somehow heard that sounded intriguing, which whatever that means to Kaprizov. Look, I mean, obviously bringing in a talent like that in a couple years would be amazing, and that's what they need to do. I mean, a kid can only dream, obviously. But I'm not like keeping my eyes on that. Like, oh, it's gonna happen. We're gonna get.
I think it's largely wishful thinking, I think, but it would be nice.
Yeah.
One more thing, maybe from the preseason game on Monday, the power play went over 4.
Yeah.
Any like overreaction to that?
I mean, from what I saw, like, they had looks, so it wasn't necessarily an issue there, and so I wouldn't really worry too much about it. I do like the pairings they had. I think if you keep them together, like that should work well. If Bedard, Bertuzzi, Tavo, Hall, Jones, like it's a pretty solid power play there.
Yeah,
So I think,
it's a lot of
yeah,
talent.
Jones was rough. He still can't quarterback a power play to save his life, but if he could figure that out, that could be a good power play.
Yeah, hopefully they give, you know, when Korchinski plays
Korchinski
this year,
look, yeah, for
hopefully
sure.
he gets some opportunities on the power play, because
I think that's could really could shine. That's where his offensive game could really come through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 former Blackhawks in that Red Wings lineup too: DeBrincat, Eric Gustafson, Oli Mata, and Tyler Mott.
Everybody but Patrick Kane, same deal
Chicago
tonight. No
Blackhawks
Kane.
legend Oli Mata.
Yeah, and they all had a point too.
Of course.
Really?
Yeah.
Of course. Former Hawks always own us. It's the tale is always time.
So no Patrick Kane tonight. That's super interesting.
Yeah, I think, I mean, with his history, we know if, of his health, I think they probably just want to make sure he's totally good to go for this season. I'm sure they might probably get him an A preseason game, but a guy like him, a veteran who's been around for as long as he doesn't really, this is useless for him. I think the practices are more helpful. He's been, doing the training camp stuff. So they don't want to risk anything, especially with all the injuries we've been seeing. It's not worth it. So as much as I'd love to see him, it does piss me off. We're not seeing him once against, playing them twice, but I get it. I understand.
I think it's very likely that he doesn't want to play.
Could be, yeah.
You know, like I think if Patrick Kane was like, no, I want to play in this first preseason game back in Chicago, get me out there, I think he would have played.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if that like decision is kind of up to him, just because of, I mean, what he's done in this league and how good he is, and like, you don't need to risk Patrick Kane getting injured in the preseason. So
yeah, he's such a smart guy. Like, he's not going to take the risk. Like, he's like, I don't need this. I don't think he cares.
Yeah, which sucks for us, but
yeah, no, it'd be something extra to watch. Yeah.
This is kind of interesting. So this story was written by Scott Powers at The Athletic, who, so there was a Blackhawks prospect called, his name is Max Shalinov. I don't know if you guys heard this story.
Oh yeah, I saw. Yeah.
He's
no longer a Hawk, right?
He's 31 years old. He plays for Lokomotiv. in the KHL. The Blackhawks drafted him in the 4th round of the 2011 draft, 109th overall. So he has spent his entire career in Russia except for 20 games in the AHL with Rockford and then 43 in the ECHL. But then he went right back to Russia afterward. And the Blackhawks like took him off their reserve list now at the age of 31. I thought that was pretty funny.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I saw something about that. Yeah, that's interesting.
There was like that's like the basketball player. I don't know what I forgot. It was like he was on the Orlando Magic or something, and then he went to Orlando once, and then he never went back. And I think they waited until 4 years after the guy retired. He was like 42 years old when they finally took him off their reserve list. I don't know. I thought that was kind of funny.
That was funny. 13 years later after being drafted, finally off the list. Yeah.
He's a promising young talent.
Yeah.
Let me see how many points.
Let's get the 31-year-old rookie over here. Give him a contract. Come on. He could be our older Kaprizov.
Like turns out he's like a KHL MVP. It's like, what have we been doing?
He's rushing Gretzky.
He's a good player. He had a good season last year.
What does that mean?
36 points in 68 games. He has 4 points in 9 games so far this season.
For KHL, it's decent production. He could be in the bottom 6.
Yeah. It all. I don't really watch a ton of KHL hockey, I have to admit.
Yeah. What are those streams like?
I have no idea, honestly.
Just vodka advertisements.
The KHL is like a league that I only take in via clips on social media.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever watched a full KHL game.
I just see BR Open Ice like just keeps reposting Demidov clips, just trying to piss me off.
Yeah, man, that kid looks good though, doesn't he?
Fuck yeah, he does. Okay, let's not talk about it. We're gonna get angry.
That's the thing. I said that before. It's like, dude, if this kid turns into fucking Nikita Kucherov, it's
I'd be so fucking pissed.
Even if Levchinov is like really good, it's still gonna be like, dude,
we could have had that with Bedard. Yeah, fuck, man.
I'm curious as to what, at the end of the day, what the ceiling for Artem Levchinov is.
I think he could be a number 1 defenseman. I think he could be in the Norris conversation. I don't think he's ever going to be like, I don't know, Cale Makar or Quinn Hughes. I don't think he's ever going to be the best defenseman, but I think he could be a top 10, top 5 guy. Yeah. I mean, he's good on both ends of the ice. That's what you need. Physical, got that intensity, that drive, endurance. Good, I think he'd be a good
right-handed Yossi. Would that be?
That's pretty high. That's pretty high praise. I don't know, but I mean, potentially. I don't know about that good, but yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Is even just saying that, it's like, why did you not go after Demidov? But also, I feel like the league has changed so much that like, especially with defensemen, it's kind of like quarterbacks in the in the NFL. How like now quarterbacks, like you want those dual threat guys. You want guys that can run the ball and get out of pressure. I feel like it's kind of the same way now with all these new defensemen that are coming in. They're all just like super high skill, fast skaters, basically quarterbacks. And I don't know if Levchinov is that kind of player. Maybe more of like a
Kaczynski's probably
like Charlie McAvoy type player.
That's the one I hear a lot.
Which I mean, shit. If that's what he turns out to be, then I mean we're sitting pretty. But in what I've seen from him in the season last year at Michigan State, it didn't feel like I was watching, as you said, a Quinn Hughes or a Rasmus Dahlin or an Adam Fox. But
he might be more of a number 2. Which if that's the case, yeah, I mean. It's not that work out badly for us if it was a positional need, but it's like it's not gonna, we could have had the next Russian legend, but whatever.
And yeah, just you saying that, just a positional need, drafting a positional need pisses me off so much because you hear GM say all the time. And I'm sure
best available player. Yeah, that's what he said.
The best available.
It's what he said after the lottery.
Shut up! You don't believe that. You're coping. Just say you wanted to fill this positional role. Like
yeah. And I love how everybody who passed on Levchinov, every player's gotten hurt. Levchinov's hurt. Beckett Seneca's hurt. Kay Lundstrom's hurt. I don't know. I just found that kind of interesting. But anyway, we're beating a dead horse here. It is what it is.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on the Hawks?
I mean, I think this game tonight might be a little rough score-wise, but I think as long as guys like Reichel and Nazar perform, who cares, right? Kevin Korchinski, like those are the 3 to watch. If those 3 play well, I don't care what the score is.
Spellacy.
And Spellacy, yeah, right.
All right, final score predictions.
I'll
6-2 Red Wings.
I was gonna, yeah, okay. I'll say 5-2 Wings.
All right, we're gonna hit a break, and then we'll come back with the NHL. I'll keep it here. All right, we're back on Chicago Hockey Radio NHL Hour. Thanks for sticking with us wherever you're tuning in from, wherever you are. Make sure you subscribe to the Chicago Hockey Radio YouTube channel. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, leave a 5-star rating, leave a comment, leave a review. We'd love to hear from you. And yeah, really happy to have the boys board again. Lee in studio, although we are in different rooms today.
Feel so far away from you.
Yeah, I know. It feels like you're at your place right now.
What do you mean by
NHL
that?
Hour, big news of the day. I mean, I guess the big news of the last couple of days was Rasmus Dahlin was named Sabres captain. I talked about it on my show a little bit. I like the move a lot. You know, it's a pretty good leader to have. I argued maybe Alex Tuck should have been the guy, but yeah, I mean, if you're going to pay a guy as much as you are to Rasmus Dahlin, to have an elite player like that in the NHL as the captain of the Buffalo Sabres, I think is a big boon for that organization. Just, I'll toss it over to you guys, but you know, Rasmus Dahlin, captain of the Swords.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's great. You go.
Go ahead. I was just gonna make a joke about them falling flat on their face again this season. But
yeah, I mean, nice to see the Buffalo Sabres give their franchise player, you know, that C. You know, he's really come along. He's young, but you know, I think he's proven himself. You know, he's in Norris contender, one of the best defensemen in this league. And I mean, if there's a guy who's going to bring that franchise back from the dead, I think he's the guy there that would make most sense to put that trust in. So, no, I think it's a good move for them. Makes sense. I mean, Sabres probably still won't be in the playoffs because it's the Sabres, but you know, I think it's a good move for them. Dahlin's definitely, he showed some of those leadership qualities, I think, for what we've seen of him. So, yeah, I think no complaints. Works well. Would have been nice to see another franchise give their franchise player the C anyway, but you know, he's a few years older, so yeah.
if you guys could have one, who would you take between Quinn Hughes and Rasmus Dahlin?
Quinn Hughes.
Quinn Hughes, yeah.
Okay. I feel like Tassos, I feel like you tried saying to me like this past year that you'd rather Rasmus Dahlin.
No, I don't. First of all, I don't think I ever said that. I think you're.
You think I'm hallucinating?
Yeah, I think you might be. I like Dahlin a lot. I think he's added an edge to his game too, or maybe he's always had it. You know, I remember like the Austin Matthews incident at the Heritage Classic, and you know, just the feistiness. He's not afraid to drop the mitts when it counts. You know, like some of the elite players do. I love when elite players fight. First of all, like that gets me going more than maybe the tough guys dropping them. Obviously, it's good to see like a heavyweight matchup from time to time, but when the stars are engaged and they're dropping the gloves, like that's the best, right?
Yeah, that's hockey, baby.
Yeah. So, I like Dahlin's game a lot. I think Buffalo has a lot of left shot defensemen that are, you know, you got him and Power and now Bowen Byram too, who I think they're going to try and force on the right side, if I have to imagine. But
they're gathering like the Thanos glove Infinity Stones of like highly drafted first round pick defensemen.
Yeah.
Got like half of them.
Yeah, I mean, because they got Power over there as well. And yeah, they're definitely stacking up, and Byron. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Power. I mean, I know we're talking about Dahlin as captain, but you know, this is a team that needs to take that next step, right? And so if you know, not saying that Kyle Oposo wasn't, because everything in the wake of his retirement was what a good leader he is. But you know, Dahlin, it's more of like it's the same thing as now like Austin Matthews being captain, right, in Toronto, where you look at it and you know, when Kyle Oposo tells you to be better and you're Dylan Cousins, right, and you're a better player probably than Kyle Oposo is right now, it's hard for you as Dylan Cousins maybe to take it as seriously. But when Rasmus Dahlin tells you you have to step up your game and play better, it probably holds a bit more weight. You're like, okay, if he's telling me I got to be better, then I got to be better. I don't know. I don't know what you guys.
I think that just goes to show you how, like, so many of these young guys in this league now are pussies. I mean, seriously, like you're telling me that if like that's the issue, like, oh, Kyle Okposo, who's had like a really great career, longtime NHL veteran, like, you know, legend, like his word isn't enough. You know, I don't know, whatever. I think that the Leafs and Dahlin, their captaincy appointments are nice little PR stunts to get their fan bases, their delusional fan bases back on board.
Sell Dahlin jerseys with the C on them.
Yeah. Same thing with the Matthews.
That's fair enough. I think it's a business deal.
You don't think I'm onto anything at all there though? You know,
no, you are, and that I'm what I just said wasn't disagreeing with you. I was just going off of I think you're right, and I think that's embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
It is is Nick Foligno going to be able to like tell Tyler Bertuzzi to like and Teuvo Teravainen to like play better hockey? You know,
I think Foligno has that respect. I think it's a different. I mean, not that Poso doesn't, but I think the Hawks have that stronger culture and still, which just shows organizational difference between us and the Sabres. But like, nah, Foligno's a guy who just commands respect of everybody in the room. So I'm not really concerned about that. But I do find it interesting the Sabres are going from a bottom six, like legend, like Kyle Poso to giving it to the franchise guy. Like we hopefully will in a couple of years. But no, I don't know if it's just a PR stunt. I think giving Doling the C makes sense, but I kind of understand what you're saying from that aspect. But yeah.
I also, Tassos, to go back to your point, I don't think they're making Foligno the C so that he can be talking to Tyler Bertuzzi.
It's to the young players.
Yeah, it's for the young players.
Yeah.
So I'm not really worried about that. I think they brought in guys like Bertuzzi and Teravainen because it's like we can just let these guys go play hockey. We don't have to worry about it. These aren't developmental projects. It's like just go play with Bedard. I think it's going to be all the other young prospects getting into the lineup throughout the year that Foligno take on that mentorship role and be a vocal leader. And also, I feel like every time I hear him talk, he makes me want to run through a fucking wall. So
yeah, no, he's a great speaker, just a great leader. Yeah, definitely just commands respect of everybody in that room. It doesn't matter if you're a young prospect or a veteran. Like you listen to Nick Foligno. Yeah.
Of course, we're going back to the Blackhawks, and we just
yeah. I know. I mean, we are. Yeah.
It's so fun for us.
What else? I mean, the big injuries, or just like the injury bug is kind of the big story a little bit throughout training camp, which is such a disappointment. I hate talking about it all the time.
Let's talk about William Nylander. What the hell was that last night? I have never seen anything like that before. Nick Robertson just shoving him with his stick and injuring Nylander. That might be a 5,000 IQ play by Nick Robertson. He's a guy who's fighting for a roster spot, who's been on trade rumors. Like, I'm just going to assert myself a spot right here and score a goal the next shift. It might be a brilliant move by him.
Right after.
It looked intentional.
Yeah, so there you go.
It was so weird. And I feel like I also haven't seen a good angle of it. I've only seen like a close-up angle where the only people I can see in the frame are them two, and it looks like he just like killed him. Like it looks like he just pushed him off a cliff.
And afterwards, she just shakes his head like, "Oh, whoops."
Oh my gosh, it was
pretends
so
that.
bad.
Sorry.
Like what was happening in that play? 'Cause obviously, I wasn't watching the Leafs preseason game.
I think he was behind the plate. He was trying to like give Nylander a boost to like catch up to the player ahead of him. I don't know, but I've never seen. Like, apparently that's like something that's done, but I've been watching the NHL for years and I've never seen somebody try that before. So I don't. Maybe that's a thing in lower leagues, but not the freaking NHL. Like, and why do that in a preseason game?
Like maybe
in the Stanley Cup playoff game to avoid a breakaway.
Exactly.
Yeah, like
you're trying to get your guy back in like a playoff game, like do or die. You gotta get, this guy's through on a breakaway, but he just shoves him in the butt, and he just goes head first into a knee. Oh my gosh, that was just the most Leafs thing ever. I mean, hopefully Nylander's okay, but I couldn't help but laugh like really hard at that.
I think that play sums up the Leafs franchise since 1967. Like that just showed that play. That's all you need to show.
You see guys do that, like try and give their teammates like a boost, whether it's a stick or with their hands sometimes, or they push them and they're trying to make them go quicker, right? Like they're trying to give them an extra burst of speed if they might have a step on.
Yeah, but
them.
wasn't he like again? I really didn't really see where the play was. Weren't they kind of on the forecheck? Like didn't like the defenseman like have the puck? It's not like he was trying to get like back, right?
No. They were on the offensive. They were heading into the zone.
Yeah. So it's like, why would you?
Oh, it makes even less sense. Yeah. Like, not even like you're trying to prevent a breakaway. What?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like it didn't make any sense to do it. And so that just makes it more fun. I just want to hear that da-na-na, da-na-na.
Yeah. Sports Center, not top 10.
Yeah.
I'll be in blooper reels for forever. Yeah.
Yeah, he bumped in the leg of Christian Dvorak on the Canadiens. Left the game, was later ruled out for, quote, precautionary reasons. Craig Berube said, quote, he'll be fine. He's okay. Nothing to worry about. So, you just hope it's not a concussion, to be honest with you. And, I mean, you never want it to be the worst. What was the other couple injuries? The John Gibson one was obviously just nothing hockey related.
He's having his appendix removed? Is that what I saw?
Yeah.
What has he been eating?
Well, it gives Dostal a chance to take that starter's net. Yeah, that could be
Mhm.
good for him.
He
Yeah,
is really good, man. Like he had a
yeah,
great year last year and on a very bad team and showed he can kick. So,
yeah.
um, but I was saying on the morning show that I think it hurt. I mean, it does hurt any potential trade that might happen with John Gibson or, coming out the season strong and then maybe making it more likely that the Ducks could trade him to a contender. Do you actually think he gets traded to a contender at some point? Like, is that,
Haven't we
I
been
feel
talking
like we've
about
been
this
hearing
for
this
like years?
forever, for
yeah.
so long. But like, I mean, now would be the time. I feel like that would make sense. If Dostal does establish himself as that starter, I mean, yeah, I think that makes sense for them to do that. But like, yeah, we've been having this conversation, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to see him play on a really good team. That should have been maybe a move that Pittsburgh made a couple of years ago. Was bringing in John Gibson to help try and make the Penguins a bit more competitive. But and then Drew Doughty too. I asked Lee this one right off the hop on the morning show. But
Yeah, that was crazy work.
yeah,
I mean, if the Kings were fucked already, they're definitely fucked now.
yeah. But I said this to Lee too. It's like, oh, isn't it a problem that Drew Doughty is your most important defenseman at 34 years old?
Yeah.
Like you don't have a backup plan. Like Brent
Puts a
Clark
lot of
hasn't.
pressure on Clark this year. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and Jordan Spence too. Just to
yeah.
to be better and to do that. More preseason thoughts? Anything from you guys?
I mean, just about the LA team, like, I don't know how people can seriously think that they're going to make the playoffs again. And it's like, if they do, they're going to just get swept by the Oilers, probably. I don't know. Like, that team just, ugly style of play. Yeah, 34-year-old veteran defenseman, still your best defenseman. Like, I don't know. They did like a kind of like a retool thing. They got a couple of good guys, but yeah, I think they need to figure something out on the back end. Shout
Yeah,
out
I
to
mean, I don't,
Forum Blues.
yeah,
Good
Forum
luck,
Blues,
fellas.
our number one ops over there. We keep shitting on the Kings every show. But yeah, I mean, I don't see more than three teams in the Pacific making the playoffs. That division is ass. I mean, those three teams are going to be Edmonton, Vegas, and Vancouver. So that kind of leaves the Kings odd team out, I guess, for sure. I agree with you. Yeah.
Do you guys actually think Vancouver's going to be what they were last season?
I mean, I don't think they're going to be what they were last season, but I still think they're much better than they're still a playoff team. I think they're still much better than the Kings.
Yeah, I
So
think their
they'll
division
probably be third
sucks.
in that division, maybe second. We'll see.
Yeah, but they lost. I guess they brought in Jake DeBrusk, right? But
I know
they
Demko's out, but the rest of that team's just so much stronger than the Kings,
Yeah,
which I
just
think it won't affect them too much.
the top
but,
half of their roster is good enough to succeed in the regular season.
yeah.
yeah, I just you lose Elias Lindholm, you lose Nikita Zadorov, who you brought in was really effective.
He was really effective in the playoffs, but I don't think he was like outstanding in like the regular season.
Yeah, I don't know. She loves starting a lot of games, and
Yeah, that's
there-
the question,
they
right?
signed Kevin Lankinen, right, to a deal.
Oh, there
I
you
think,
go. Lank
earlier
the
this year.
tank. Their season's saved.
Yeah. Oh, another former Blackhawk. That's right.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. No, it'll be interesting. All right. What else we got here? Brian Little retired. That
Oh,
was
yeah.
a guy.
2010's legend.
Just yeah, and you know what? Like spend his whole career with the same organization.
Yeah.
You got to really respect that. And he went out with like a brutal eye injury too. Like that's why his
Yeah.
playing career
Something like
suddenly
4 years ago.
ended. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. Any thoughts on Brian Little?
Yeah, I feel like there's always one of those underrated players. I mean, some of those Jets teams are kind of forgettable. It's a shame that injury happened too, because it kind of happened right as the Jets were, coming on strong. They definitely could have used him, the last few years during some of these playoff runs. But no, I mean, we knew this was inevitable at some point. I think I assumed he already was retired. So when I saw him, like, oh, well, there you go. But no, definitely a player who's easy to root for. It's a shame his career had to end the way it did. Yeah.
He was hit from a slap shot from Nikolai Ehlers, his own teammate, and
Oh, really?
that's what did it. The team said at the time he needed 25 to 30 stitches to a close cut around his left ear. He had missed the first 9 games of the 1920 season with a concussion before that injury. So yeah, and I should say he was with the Jets Thrashers organization his whole career. They actually did trade his rights to the Arizona Coyotes. And then that got transferred over to the Utah Hockey Club. But
It's always the Coyotes
it's
where
al-
these dead contracts go every single time. It's so funny.
Shea Weber,
Now the Hockey Tua Club takes that over. Yeah.
Hockey to a club. Before we get out of here, can we talk about I think we need to talk about it on every episode until something happens.
Yeah.
The Swayman contract.
What's going on over there?
I mean, dude, that organization is gonna explode. Can you imagine how pissed
fuck,
those
Bruins
fucking
fans. Oh,
psycho
God.
Bruins fans are gonna be? Like when the
God.
season starts and they don't have a goaltender after
they're
trading one of them and then not having the other. I said it before. Did I not say in that first episode that I wanted to not have them make the playoffs? Like,
Yeah, you said
I was
that.
already low on this team, and now what made them great was that goalie tandem. And it's like you trade away Allmark, so you don't have the tandem anymore. You just got Swayman, but it's like now you might not even get Swayman. I was just listening on the ride over here to the Chicklets guys again. They were saying that he wants around 8x8, but they offered him 4x6 or six,
What?
Yeah, $6 million for 4 years, and he wants
Yeah, that makes more
8x8.
sense. Yeah, okay.
And so it's just like he's like, no, like
they're
I'm
they're
not
not
doing
even
that.
close.
Yeah.
8x8 isn't even like
That crazy.
No.
That's actually pretty fair. I think that's a fair contract
Especially
for
in
him
like,
right now.
like once we see like Igor get paid, like
Johnny Lazarus on the morning show today said that Igor's contract could be like up to 12 million
Yeah.
on an 8-year deal.
Jesus Christ.
I know. He said they might try and get it in like around like 11.75, but like that's like he wants to be the highest paid goaltender in the NHL, but it's not like he's going to sign his contract now before the season starts, which is another crazy goaltending situation for the year. But like the longer that negotiation drags on, but it's not like this Swayman contract he's talked about it openly that it sets the bar for other goalies, right?
Yeah.
Support,
So
for
if
sure.
he comes in and takes like a $4 million deal because he gets really nervous,
That's going to affect the market. Yeah.
Yeah, it is going to affect the market. And so, Shesterkin may not be able to ask for close to $12 million. I mean, I don't know that I would pay a goalie $12 million anyway, but I guess if you were going to pay a goalie 12, it would be
him, yeah.
Yeah.
New York has to win now. I mean, do
They
we
have so much
really
pressure.
think that a team's going to win a Stanley Cup with a goalie making over $11 million?
I don't know. They just did it with a goalie
No, I
making
mean-
10.
Yeah, pretty close. Bobrovsky. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know what the Bruins are doing over there, though. I mean, Swayman, he kind of is that team right now. If they don't have him, like, they're fucked. So they got to get that result. But we keep saying that. It's still not done. So maybe they won't have him for the start of the season. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't care what they did defensively this offseason.
It won't matter if they
It
don't
won't
have him.
matter.
Yeah,
I think
no.
an 8x8 is a steal for Swayman, too.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Especially
Why?
since he might be
Yeah.
a top 3 goalie in the next 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, that's a no-brainer for the Bruins. I
It's
don't
like
know. That's weird.
this guy is your cornerstone, and you're avoiding paying him $8 million.
Yeah, have some goddamn
We're paying
faith.
Seth Jones
Yeah.
$8 million.
Jesus, is Dutch Vanderlyn running that
Yeah,
team?
can
What's
we
going
give
on over
them
there?
Seth Jones?
Seth Jones for Jeremy Swayman.
We'll take it.
Oh yeah, that's
time
all
to
day.
So do the Hawks play another preseason game on the weekend, too?
Yeah, they do Saturday. I think it's
Saturday.
at St. Louis, so I imagine it'll be some sort of hybrid of the Wednesday, Friday lineups. I mean, they're not gonna play everybody who played Friday, but I imagine they'll get some guys in. Somebody like Kershaw. I mean, he's not in the lap
Kershaw
today.
and Reichel, please.
You guys
Yeah,
think the
for
next
sure.
round of cuts will come probably Monday? Or you
Probably,
think
yeah.
Probably.
This
yeah,
either
after
this
the
weekend or
trip.
Monday. Yeah, for sure.
well,
After the trip, yeah.
hopefully we do, so we get some so we get some news to talk about. Maybe
I think we'll have plenty to talk about Monday. We'll have 2 preseason games to talk about, and yeah, probably some cuts or something. Yeah, for sure.
One more fun NHL thing I wanted to bring up to you guys, and then we'll wrap. The Sabres today in their preseason game, they play EHC Red Bull.
Oh, are they playing Max Verstappen? Oh.
No, I just like I love when the NHL teams play against non-NHL
global
teams.
series,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Like I think that's such a fun thing. I'd love to see the NHL in the Champions Hockey League one day. I don't know. I think that would be really cool. Do you guys actually think we could ever get that? I think we could. I don't know if they'll make it like the Stanley Cup champion goes over and plays in the Champions Hockey League, but you could send the Buffalo Sabres over there to play in the Champions Hockey League, play a few more extra games.
Yeah, that'd be cool to see. I think there used to be more of that stuff now, but it kind of went away. But yeah, I'd like to see kind of more of that international NHL hockey crossover. It's a pretty cool opportunity, especially for those international players that play some NHL competition. So
Lee, you're a big
it gets them
soccer guy.
exposure. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a big soccer guy. What do you think about the NHL and the Champions League?
I think I brought this up to my dad. I want to say like a year or 2 ago. I think I've talked to you about this before, Tassos. I think it would be we talk about these expansion teams all the time in the NHL. I think it would be so sick. And I understand that this like logistically might be very hard, but I think it would be insane if you added a division that was a European division. And so you had like 8 teams in Europe. And so like I know under like the first thing is like, oh, travel. But it's like, think about it. You go and do like a European, every team goes and does like a European road trip where you play all of them. I think that would be insane. I know.
National Lampoon's European Vacation, NHL style.
Dude, can you imagine? Can you imagine like you have it like a couple teams in Germany, you have like a Swedish team, you have like a couple Russian teams, you have a team in Prague. Like that would be lit, dude.
Yeah, that would be cool. Well, that's how the Hawks discovered Reichel, I think, through one of those international things. Like, I think it was 2019, they played like that Berlin Polar Bears team in the German Hockey League, and they saw Reichel play well. And like, that's kind of a big reason why they started scouting him and drafting him. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So there used to be something called the Victoria Cup. It was played twice, and the Blackhawks actually did play in it once. They played in the second and last one. In 2009, they lost to the Zurich Lions 2-1. And then the year before that, the New York Rangers played Metalurg Magnitogorsk in front of a crowd of almost 14,000 people and won 4-3. So,
and the atmosphere in Europe is crazy over there. Like, they treat hockey games
different.
like soccer matches. It's totally different. Yeah, like you said, man.
but so I talked to Dylan Baker from Hockey Worldwide a few days ago, and he was talking about how the reason that people don't like the Champions Hockey League isn't really that big of a deal over there. Like, they will get up more for like a Liga game or an SHL game than they will a Champions Hockey League game. And a lot of the reason why is because like there's not a lot of history to it, and hockey fans love history. Like that's part of the appeal to the game for a lot of us is like the roots of it. And that the Champions League just started like 10 years ago, so not a lot of people put much stock into it. But you up the competition, you throw some NHL teams in there. I think it could be really fun. A couple KHL teams too. I don't know. It's just fun stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see more international competition. I think it just grows the game. I think like it's so crazy to me that Europe isn't more involved in like hockey than they are. Because I mean, we all know it's like the most fun sport in the world to watch. So yeah, by any means necessary, like get over there, grow the game, play more games there. It's good for us. It's good for everyone. It's good for the game.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think please in a few years.
This is going to sound.
division
There's so
in
much
the
talent
NHL.
over there in Europe. I think it would help a lot. Those like with those dilution arguments, like if NHL does expand 34 teams, like this would help so much of that, increasing exposure, getting more players in there over here. That'd be awesome. Yeah.
I'm going to sound like such a stupid hockey fan right now. But the NHL opens up their season.
2 weeks from now.
Yeah, they open up 2 weeks from now, and it's the Global Series in Czechia on October 4th. Who's going to play over there? It's Buffalo and the New Jersey Devils.
Should we
right?
go to the game?
In Prague? Yeah, I mean, that'd actually be really fun. No, my point was, so is Buffalo not playing preseason hockey games? Like, because they're already over there.
They played some games. I know they have.
They played. Oh, okay. So they might have like played a couple and then gone over.
Yeah,
But this could be like their last preseason game, I think.
Huh. Interesting.
Because it seems like they're just going to stay over in Europe. And
I love how all the teams they could send over there, they send the Buffalo Sabres.
well, I think that's why.
Yeah, that's probably probably
Thank
a good
God,
point.
we're really growing the game here.
It was like
The
last year
Buffalo
in
Sabres in
Australia.
town. Oh boy.
It's like, oh, what team's going to
It's
Australia? How about
Arizona.
the one that won't be there next year.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever been said before, Justin. Oh, the Buffalo Sabres are in town tonight.
Yeah, we gotta see this, man. Open the checkbooks.
I'd be down to go to a
funny.
Buffalo Sabres game. I think
Tassos, we were making a joke.
I know.
I don't give a fuck about Dylan Cousins.
Tage Thompson, though.
The
big
workhorse
season.
from Whitehorse.
The workhorse from Whitehorse. So that's really funny. All right. That was a lot of fun, guys. That's going to do it for us here today on Chicago Hockey Radio. Thanks for anybody that tuned in live. We actually had quite a few people tune in live over the course of this. Yeah.
Wow.
11 people.
Do they have lives?
11 people hopped in over the course of this. So yeah, thanks to all of you guys going on.
Yeah,
And,
thank you.
Yeah, anybody that's listening, like I said, subscribe to this YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube. If you're listening, click the download, click the follow button. Send us some messages, whatever it is. We're happy to be here and doing this. So I was I'll end with this too. I told these guys, but I was in the bathroom at the United Center during the game, and I just everybody was loud and rowdy and having a good time. So I shared our podcast, and I got about a dozen hell yeahs from a bunch of people, and a couple of them followed us on Instagram.
Very cool.
Followed our show, said they would listen to it on the way home to work, or on the way to work. So
very cool.
Shows we're doing the right thing if people are enjoying it.
Awesome.
Also, before we leave, I have a wedding this weekend, and I will not be on the show Monday, but I will be back with wedding stories on Wednesday and Friday.
Right.
I can't wait to hear them. Also, Tassos, did your
softly.
girl enjoy the game at Wednesday that you brought with?
Yes, I went on a date on Wednesday. All right. Anyway,
I forgot to.
Did that go the distance? Anyway, that's
all right. We'll see everybody Monday. See everybody Monday.
Let's see.